Hey guys, I thought I'd talk to you about takedown bows today. And I know there's some really good sleeves that fit well. I know that they have some heavy duty hinges that work really well. And if you had a seriously good piece of wood that you wanted to make into a hunting companion or whatever, that would be what I would use. But at the same time, I think there's probably, if you're like me, there's times where you wonder, could I make that into a takedown bow? Or could I make a takedown bow? And so I did. I tried a few different things. And one of the first things that helped me was there was an article in Primitive Archer magazine about using a piece of metal conduit. And so what you do is take the conduit and a 1-inch conduit, long as your handle, 4 or 5 inches, and then squish it a little bit oblong if you like for the shape, and then to fit your pieces of wood in there. And so that's what this one is. And it works pretty well. It's got the conduit inside of there, and this lower limb is glued in solid. And then this limb, of course, they recommended having a nice tapered cut on there for it to match together with. I didn't do that because I had previously tried to make a hinged bow out of it, and a hardware store hinge is not strong enough. And so this ended up sitting on the shelf in 2 pieces for a long time. And I read the article and it worked good. And so it's got a little bit of slop to it, but when you string it up, it's nice and tight. I used some rabbit fur to kind of help hide the look of the conduit on there. So that was kind of my first attempt, and it turned out kind of fun. It's pretty cool. So I'll get to my next one here. So this one, it's not a full-size bow, of course, and I kind of had some spare pieces around, and I thought, well, I wonder if I could make a takedown kid's bow out of that. And so I went ahead and made the attempt. I made these, laminated a couple pieces of hickory to get a little bit of a reflex on the end. And then on the handle, I cut out these little shelves out of here for it to fit into it. It seemed to me like when I was first trying to do this that it would be nice to have a place that they would just go into. And so to hold it in, I put screws with little finish washers in there, which gave it a finished look, I guess you might say. And so that turned out pretty good. I was pretty happy with that. Fast forward a little ways, I figured I would probably never be taking this thing down, and so I went ahead and glued it as well to make it a little bit stronger. But so anyway, that was a pretty cool one. I thought it was nice and fun to do. Next one I did is just kind of the same thing, only I went a little bit more exotic, I guess you might say, on the handle material. I got some nicer stuff. The limbs are a little bit longer with just a little tiny bit of reflex. But I did the same ledge thing for it to fit on. And then again, the screws in there with the finish washers. And same thing, I knew that I wasn't going to take this apart after all, and so I went ahead and glued those in there. So that's the way that one turned out. Now the next one is a real redneck version. And this was given to me by a friend of mine. And he's a really good bow maker, but he had extra parts, and almost thinking the same way I was, what am I going to do with these spare parts? And so what he did was, these are pretty solid full-size limbs. I believe this is about a 35-pound bow. And so what he did, which I think is really cool, is he took these bolts with a finish washer on those and these inserts, which I think is really the way to go if you're not gonna get a sleeve or a hinge. I think something like these inserts are pretty solid and fairly decent looking. He also put If you can see, he put dowels in there as well to give it another, actually kind of cool looking when it contrasts with the handle material. But this was just a quickie project. Like I said, maybe a little more of a rednecky project, but a way to make a takedown bow if that's something you want to do. And this truly is a takedown. It's not glued together. So this bow truly is a takedown as well. I should probably have used the inserts like he did to make some better bolts to put on there. And what I did for bolts is I used the ones with wing nuts, thinking it would be handier for me if it was a takedown, that I would be able to take it apart in the field or if I was traveling with it. So it's not very dressy, but I dressed it up with some black washers. Yeah, ooh, redneck. And but I gave it a bigger handle, a thicker handle. That's more like maybe what I'm used to shooting. And the limbs I made out of Osage with bamboo backs. I had some shorter pieces of Osage board and also some shorter pieces of bamboo. And so it just seemed like a great way to use those pieces and not waste them and still end up with, you know, kind of a cool bow. So that's another, just another takedown bow. Okay, so the last one we're looking at is one that I actually made quite a few of. And what the reason for that is, in the bow class, when we cut the belly off of the bow to kind of reduce our thickness, we get a lot of these slats like this. And so just to show you briefly, we get these slats. You can leave them straight. You can put a little reflex in them, whatever you want to do. And then it's not a huge deal to cut out a piece of handle out of just about anything, really. And so that just, it gives you something you can throw together and make another bow without just throwing these in the garbage. And so, and basically that's all they are. I've left about 3 inches here for a gluing surface on this. I've put dowels in them before. I put screws in them before. I think for a lighter bow, like this one's 17 pounds, this much gluing surface is pretty safe to keep it on there. So yeah, it's not an actual takedown, but it's in 3 pieces, and it's kind of in the same spirit of using up the materials that way. And you totally could make it into a takedown bow if you wanted to. But these make a quick bow, and it makes a really good kid's bow. And like I said, you don't waste stuff. So that's kind of the little bit of the journey I've been on. I just wanted to share. I didn't really mean it as a tutorial, but I did want to just share some ideas. I think that's how all of us bow makers figure out new stuff, is by seeing what somebody else did and building on that. So anyway, I hope you liked it, and thanks for watching.